I spent my mum's last birthday in an intensive care unit. With her slipping in and out of consciousness as they tried to stabilise her. It was all taken away because of that ceiling falling on her. Just gone in an instant.
February 2019, there's chaos inside Pontins Breen Sands. An air conditioning duct has fallen onto guests, crushing Wendy Jones. She never recovered.
Being a nanny was her favourite job.
For the first time, we hear from her son, demanding answers.
I'm hoping Pontins can be held to account and say they're sorry.
I don't think they ever could sustain that weight. You know, it was inevitable.
A former site manager says he told Pontins head office he feared the ceiling structure was not safe.
And I was told to shut your effing mouth.
And separately, staff from across the business behind Pontins, Britannia Hotels, accused the company of neglecting some sites.
When I asked for refurbishment of rooms, I got 2 tins of paint and told to do it myself. I'd want them to invest. The chalets were disgraceful, mould, leaking windows.
I like to choose where I go.
Pontins has been entertaining families for decades, but it seems the good times are over.
I'm choosing Pontins 'cause I'm choosy.
9 former and current staff members have told the BBC Britannia Hotels the owners of Pontins, in some cases, have allowed some standards to fall. 3 of the 5 sites open to holidaymakers have now closed. And we've learned police are considering gross negligence, corporate manslaughter and health and safety offences after the death of Wendy Jones.
This is Mum with Dexter and Alice, my 2 children, and see how happy she is. Just those arms were made for hugging grandkids. We were never short of love.
It's over 4 years since Wendy died. Her son James is still searching for answers. He wants to know why this happened.
Mum had punctured a lung and had fractured ribs, fractured collarbone, femoral break because of the impact of the ceiling falling on her.
Before she died, Wendy spent 6 months in hospital.
One of the saddest things that I've experienced was Mum waking up saying, "Who are you?" because she didn't recognise who I was.
Police told us a post-mortem examination found a clear link between Wendy's death and the injuries she sustained at Pontins.
She never managed to come home from holiday.
Who do you blame for this?
The owners of Pontins.
The BBC filmed on the night of the collapse and spoke to guests.
I was in there last night and I was sitting with my wife and my children, and she looked up above and she see that the roof wasn't right. It was bowed in.
The fire service said 40 metres of structural ducting and ceiling sections collapsed. On the floor, you can see the fallen air conditioning duct. Insulation boards are packed around it. Some were later scattered around Pontins. Wendy was crushed along with her mobility scooter.
If your mum was here now, what would she be saying to you?
That's part of why I'm talking to you. She'd say, get justice. Get the right, do what's right. Make sure this can't happen to someone else.
For the first time, we can reveal safety concerns were raised at the highest level. Years before the collapse, a senior staff member did speak out.
My biggest fear was it would collapse eventually due to the sheer weight.
Mick Forster was a general manager at Pontins Breen Sands. In late 2015, he witnessed these insulation boards being placed on the ceiling and air conditioning duct.
Some of them are stacked 4 or 5 high. You could see a bone in places when they asked me to sign it off. I refused to.
He says he told Britannia head office he believed the ceiling was no longer safe.
In the end, I was told to leave them alone because I was interfering with them. And I was told, shut your effing mouth.
Mick then says he demanded an inspection of the work.
I spoke to head office and I asked for a structural engineer. And they said they will send one down to me. And I said, I don't want one of yours, I want an independent structural engineer.
In January 2016, a chartered surveyor inspected the ceiling at Pontins Breen Sands.
I don't think the roof could sustain that weight.
We've obtained a copy of that 2016 independent report Mick asked for and showed it to him.
Executive summary, our conclusion is that the recent insulation has not been safely or adequately installed, and the safe load for the existing suspended ceiling may have been exceeded, which could result in a collapse of the ceiling.
The report, however, also stated it was not assessing safe load limits of the ceiling.
Who received that report?
Head office?
Was satisfactory remedial work carried out while you were there?
No.
What was your concern?
Eventual collapse.
Pontins owners, a company called Britannia Jinky Jersey, dispute Mick's version of events. In a detailed statement, it said, the installation was undertaken in 2015 by a specialist contractor with a long history of working at the Breen Sands Park. In reference to the surveyor report we obtained, Britannia said the findings related solely to the ceiling grid over the dance floor. And the only concerns regarding the ventilation duct were that the rock wall installed was unsightly. It added, the findings were carefully considered and additional ceiling supports were installed by the contractor, which provided reassurance as to their diligence.
It's devastating watching that. It's very, very sad. She came to Pontins, she didn't go home again. This has been on my mind since it collapsed.
The owners of Pontins also told the BBC an engineer's report commissioned in 2017 raised no concerns at all about the safety in relation to the works and said no concern about the fixings, pipework or the lightweight plasterboard boxing in was reported to any senior manager prior to the collapse. The BBC has not seen this 2017 report. For the first time, Britannia Hotels has given its version of why the ventilation duct fell onto Wendy Jones. It says the cause was the failure of some internal fixings that held the brackets to the wall that held the ventilation duct. It added the fixings had been installed years before Britannia bought the site and were not capable of being seen on regular visible checks by the head of maintenance. Separately, the BBC has been investigating allegations of neglect at the business. Our investigation received more than 70 photos from 2 Pontins sites. We've interviewed 9 former and current Pontins and Britannia Hotel staff. All held managerial positions with decades of experience.
The issues were numerous.
I'd want them to invest. The shallows were disgraceful.
The mould is shocking.
At Southport, these images were taken last year before it closed. You can see mould in chalets, broken doors, damaged window frames, and balconies with missing or rusting railings. Staff at Pontins Southport wanted to remain anonymous. we've used actors to tell their stories.
The issues were numerous. A first-floor swimming pool leaking through into a restaurant site below, crumbling walls and balconies, mould, fleas, broken doors.
The bare minimum was done. Monthly monitoring is stuff like fire doors, trips and slips. It wasn't written down. There wasn't time.
We also obtained this video inside a chalet in Southport. There's extensive mould on the walls and ceiling. Inside Pontins Cambersands, these images from early 2024, a month after it closed, show damaged walls, doors and window frames, exposed electrics, mould in chalets and staff accommodation. 2 former staff members here told us guests would take out their frustrations on them.
When I asked for refurbishment of rooms, I got 2 tins of paint and told to do it myself. I'd want them to invest. The chalets were disgraceful, mould, leaking windows. They'd cordon chalets off rather than repair them.
I'd make requests, it'd be turned down. The walkway and balconies between the chalets are crumbling. Pool was in regular use even though it was leaking and the tiles were cracking. The mould is shocking.
When you see a member of the public struggling, when you know you are ruining holidays, it's soul destroying.
In a statement, Britannia Hotels said it was committed towards ensuring the public have a safe and enjoyable visit to all the parks and hotels they own, and they continuously improve health and safety performance.
So I've been keeping a list of all the Britannia hotels.
Over the past 6 months, we've also learned of a second death being examined by investigators. Chloe Haynes was found dead in September 2022 in her room at the Adelphi Hotel. Liverpool City Council confirmed to us it's conducting a health and safety investigation after a referral from Merseyside Police. We can also reveal 2 separate health and safety council inspections have taken place at the closed Pontins sites in Cambersands and Prestatyn. In the case of Cambersands, we understand inspectors found some of the chalets unusable, it needed urgent investment, and it might be more cost effective to bulldoze the site.
So I've been keeping a list of which Britannia hotels are not open to the public.
Over the past 6 months, we found up to 19 Britannia hotels were unavailable to book at some point. We understand many were subcontracted by the Home Office to house asylum seekers.
The government don't really give out much detail on the locations or the contracts they have with hotels to house migrants. That said, ministers regularly say in interviews that it costs £6 million a day to house migrants in hotel accommodation. So it's fair to assume that a chunk of that will be going to Britannia hotels.
In addition, a BBC Freedom of Information request to all local authorities with a Britannia Pontins site found that between 2019 and 2022, 20 councils used their premises for temporary accommodation.
So it varies, it's 1 night here or 1,000 nights in some cases. But by and large, this is to house homeless and vulnerable people, and during that time it must have cost at least £1.7 million from the data we've been given.
After the death of Chloe Haynes, Britannia Hotels said it had cooperated fully with the police, local authority and coroner's court investigations, and that the police told Britannia no action will be taken and they now await an inquest. The business added it does not consider they are at fault and said they take health and safety obligations seriously and remain committed to ensuring the public are safe. It's now 5 years since James's mother Wendy was at Pontins. Since then, he's tried to piece together Wendy's death, speaking to lawyers, detectives and doctors.
I don't like the word accident to describe this situation. I never have. It never sat comfortably with it, with me.
A son still waiting for answers.
My sister blamed herself for a long time, but I'm hoping that she now feels better about that, because it's not her fault.
James says since his mum's death, he's not heard from anyone at Britannia Hotels.
Has anybody said sorry to you and picked up the phone?
No. They've not reached out to see how we are, what's going on, what happened that night. And they could have shown some humility, some decency, some humanity.
Britannia Hotels told us the death of Wendy Jones was an unfortunate accident that could not have been predicted. They've cooperated fully with police and the local authority, and it has not been appropriate to engage with Mrs. Jones's family at this time. Avon and Somerset Police said it was open-minded about the cause of the ducting collapse and are continuing to look into the death of Wendy Jones. The Department for Culture, Media and Sport, which oversees tourism in England, said it was deeply concerned by our investigation. And everyone who holidays in the UK deserves a safe, clean and enjoyable experience.